TV, and you really want to be, some of the kids want to be a star, and some of them worked, for a couple of months, 13, 14 hours a day, and you could just see them sinking, but it's not, be careful what you ask for.
It's not for the faint of heart, because those can be grueling hours.
But it was very interesting to watch that. From the beginning of, oh yeah, I got married to one, that's fantastic, this is great. And then seeing them get bags under their eyes, and just, it's an intense process.
And what about your hobbies, things you do besides spending time with your family?
Oh man, for me, surfing, I live on a lake, so just a lot of boating and motorcycling.
Yeah, I like hiking and, just being outdoors. I live in California, it's such a beautiful place. So
Shopping.
I do shopping, yeah, that's true. I do shop. All right, I do shop.
Okay, right here.
Hi, I'm Tero from Finland, and this one's for Lori. Do we ever get to see you take roles where you aren't that glamorous?
Oh, on the show?
Like in general, like in movies or other TV series. So always, even when you're playing a mom of two children, you're so glamorous and picture perfect all the time.
Oh,
do you ever want to play something like Charlize Theron did in Monster? Like something completely non-glamorous?
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I think, obviously for 90210, it's sort of fantasy, so they have us looking a certain way for a reason, I guess. But I would love that. I would absolutely welcome it.
But are you actively looking for that kind of?
Have I actively been looking? No.
You're a working mother. How can you find time?
I know. I'm working and then I'm with my kids, and I did a little movie for the Hallmark Channel, and just this past month, but I took it because it was worked within the time frame of our hiatus, and it's a very simple, sweet story. It's not super glamorous. I'm not super glamorous in it, but I'm not. I didn't have to gain 40 pounds for the role either, so. But maybe something will come along.
Okay, back here on
the. Hello. You were talking a bit earlier about the impact that the show can have on your reflection and your discussion with your children, and so that it might have some important subject about teenagers or stuff like that. But we're still in Beverly Hills, and this is a very superficial place. The show has been said to be a bit superficial, obviously. So what lies behind this superficial side of the show? And do you believe it's a good thing, or that might be hiding some important subject because we see rich kids?
Yeah, I think, at least for me, that's the beauty of taking the family out of Kansas, out of middle America, where there are, as far as we all know, more morals and values, and then putting them in an opulent place like Beverly Hills, where there are people who have money that haven't worked for it, or so they say kids who drive Porsches when they're 16 years old. Where do you go from there? Your parents have given you everything, you didn't have to earn it. And so, we're kind of a family that, we have the values of you have to work for it. So it's a nice juxtaposition to have those kids side by side. Annie and Dixon have to work for what they get. As parents, we wouldn't allow anything other, but they're going to school with people who have everything. People who can burn 10 grand, on a party at a beach for fun. So it is superficial and heightened, and that's part of, I think, why people like to watch something like that. But I do think that there's the universal truth of you still have to earn what you get in life, and if you don't, what's happiness? You can buy 20 Porsches, it's not going to make you happy. So, I think there's a truth and a moral there that we as a family get to look at.
What do the two of you, again, having children, you have great jobs, you do live in Los Angeles, the area, what do you do within your own families to communicate those messages to your own kids?
Well, I spank my kids. No.
We beat them.
You believe in corporal punishment?
Yeah. I think, having them, look, I'm fortunate enough to, my child wants a new computer, I could go out and buy it, but there there's a value in, not too long ago my daughter spilled something on her computer, and I told her over and over again, don't put anything near your computer, and she spilled water, and she's little, and she cried, and I want a new one, and I said, well, you can't just get a new computer, you have to now do chores, and you have to earn your money back to get a new computer. And so she's been doing that, you know, and I, you know, so it's things like that, you know, trying to help them. And I said, you know, when you get to a certain dollar amount, then I will help match the other side of that, because obviously it's expensive to get a computer, and she's only 9. So, but she will value that, I think, I hope, more than if, oh my gosh, your computer was ruined, I'll just go get you another one. You know, I could easily do that, and then I eat her.
Okay, man.
Okay. For Rob, first, I would like to ask were there some surprises about how children are nowadays acting and what they do on their spare time? And are you afraid of for your children now, because you have seen what's happening there? Okay, and for Lori, about the looks. There's a lot of skinny people or girls, and you also. So, do you think you are good role models? You look really, really skinny, and you are skinny. and do you think you are good role models? Also, the younger girls that are really skinny, and how do you keep in shape?
She's a fantastic role model. You are. You are a fantastic role model for obviously girls on our show, for everyone.
Do you want to speak to that about the weight issue, maybe?
Well, for me, I truly do live my life with everything in moderation, and I'm not somebody that doesn't. If I want to have a piece of cake or something, I will do it. Will I do it every night? No. But I think what I show to my own children is I am someone who I eat, but I am healthy in my choices. I don't talk about weight, but what I do say to them is I eat healthy because there's a history of heart disease in my family and also in my husband's family, and I try to make my kids aware that, you know what, this is hereditary, this is in your family, so you need to start thinking along those lines as far as your health and taking care of your heart and cholesterol and things like that. So I think when you go from that approach, and I exercise and, you know, but I'm not fanatical, I'm really not. So I think that is a good approach, you know.
Well, for you, fears for the future for your
I
children?
eat everything. And then I get on the treadmill for 3 days, and it all goes away.
He's lucky like
Joke.
that.
Yeah, I do fear for my kids in this digital age. I see, you know, I've already had issues with my son at school. You know, on school computers, looking up things for, you know, his science project and having pornography come across the screen, which led to a conversation at home. I mean, you know, out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. It's just, you kind of go, oh my God, okay. Then you call the school and you say, how did that happen? And they say, we have a firewall, we have, you know, all kinds of things that are supposed to filter it. But they typed in what he typed in, and they got the same, you know, thing pop up. You know, like sexting, I guess people, you know, it's like instead of phone sex, it's, you know, texting sex. So we've dealt with some of the issues of that on our show. We have a thing where our daughter has a boyfriend back in Kansas, and she's, you know, they're flashing each other, and, you know, we find out. So I think the digital age is.
You know what's scary for kids is it's permanent. That's what's scary. It's like, you
Yeah.
know, when you were younger, and or maybe in high school, somebody wrote a nasty note about somebody who passed along. Well, that note got destroyed eventually. But if you write a text, or for kids nowadays, whatever you do, texting, email, anything on the computer,
Sorry.
it's permanent. It doesn't go away. So I feel sorry for kids nowadays because you don't have the room to stumble because you are scrutinized, and it stays with you for life. And even what you put on your Facebook, when you're applying to colleges, university back home, they look at your Facebook. They look to see who you are, and kids put ridiculously silly things on there. You know, whether it's we're out drinking here, or just things that don't shed a good light. You know, or we're represented probably in a good way. And